Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of No More Kids in Scientology. I am going to bring up a video we're going to review, but I want to know if there is sound, if you guys can hear it. Can you guys hear me okay? Hello, Angie. Hello, Kitty. 1838.
We've got a little bit of, I don't know if it'll be a treat for you, Neil, or not, but we've actually found a recording of you at the age of 7.
Can you guys hear that? In the chat, can you? Okay, perfect. Because this is what we were trying to fix before, so I'm glad to know that the sound is good. Hello, Andy. Thank you. Hi, Brown Barbie. You just finished with Nora. I'm just gonna send you love and stop my stream. I can't even speak, but I love you. The article's too much. Yes, you guys, the article is beyond the beyond. But I think it's presenting us with an opportunity to address Neil Gaiman, kid who grew up in Scientology, Neil Gaiman, man who climbed all the way to the very top of the ladder of the Scientology elite, the Hollywood elite, the literacy world, very, very top of that ladder. And here we have this man who grew up as a child in Scientology. Now, what else do we know about Neil Gaiman? He climbed all the way up to class 8 auditor. So that might not mean anything to anybody, but let's make clear for all of those that are wondering, oh, was Neil Gaiman a Scientologist? Class 8 auditor. Neil Gaiman was quadruple, 5 times X more the training that I had. I was class 4. He was class 8. Now there's only 12 classes of auditors, but class 8 is the only auditor class that you can do. Is the highest they will allow you to do without signing a 1 billion year contract. So this is a man who studied L. Ron Hubbard more than anyone can even imagine. This is the man that has advanced the courses. Listen to L. Ron Hubbard regurgitating. And this is how you're going to audit. And this is how you're going to ask disgusting, literal essay questions that L. Ron Hubbard regurgitates on tape. For all of you who are wondering, did any of the parents knew that anything was wrong? L. Ron Hubbard himself. All these people were listening to him. These are the questions that you really want to ask. This is how you want to fish and fumble, is what they were calling it. Right, Neil Gaiman? Because you have done the Sign Hill Special Briefing Course. The Sign Hill Special Briefing Course, you guys, is comprised of hours, hundreds, thousands of hours of diatribes of convicted felon, deranged, degenerate in chief, L. Ron Hubbard, giving his sycophants examples on how to talk like Hubbard. Isn't it interesting that the fetish is, call me master? Master. What have we been telling you ad nauseum goes on in Scientology hotels and commercial buildings 24/7, 365? It's the master-slave relationship that everyone inside of those hotels has to adopt. So here's this man on the aftermath of literally having so-called, self-proclaimed, alleged that he's left Scientology, but that's what all of you always get wrong. Oh, we were told they left. Oh, they really did. They left a hotel or commercial building. What was the change that so many of you want to point out? Oh, they did leave. As if there's this big division, as if there's this big change. Oh, were you inside? Oh, you're not at the hotel anymore? Oh, you must be so different. Oh, you must be so... What is the difference? Can anyone really point out the difference? People that visited hotels, that got themselves a paid membership to these hotels and commercial buildings so they would have unfettered access to all the underage kids that were being provided at these hotels with, yes, you guessed it, our out of their literal mind parents who couldn't have been more sycophantic, who couldn't have had less critical thinking skills, as if they didn't renounce them all to Hubbard as, part of being accepted. All of these people relinquished willingly their critical thinking skills as adults. If you are an adult and you go make a deal inside of a hotel where you relinquish your right to have critical thinking skills, you as an adult did that. You as an adult were pitched that. You as an adult were given that information. And then you went, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Let me just have no critical thinking skills when I enter the hotels. Let me just have none. Let me just agree that all of us inside of these hotels have none, other than, what did the convicted felon say to do? Can someone really go check the policy? So here we have Neil Gaiman being accused of, what was it? Oh yeah, bringing girls on the younger side. And then him acting out being the, what was it? Oh yeah, the master. For them to be, oh yeah, what was it? The slave. So in what world did this man leave Scientology? Anybody actually make that point right now? Where's the evidence he left? If he was doing that at the hotel and then he exited and he propped up his own private situationship And what? Amanda Palmer was his what? His Debbie Cook. Oh, go recruit me. Recruit me some girls here. I really need a babysitters. I really need people cleaning my house. I really need slaves. Go get them. Go get them. Don't bother me. I'm the greatest writer. I really have a lot of accolades. Netflix really likes me. Oh yeah, I'm such a success story. You have no idea how the literal intellectual world, it's so stupid, unable to connect a shred of thought. Imagine all those people that have gone to college, that have read the books, that have read all these philosophies. No one can pin this man. No one can pin him. Oh no, he writes some cockamamie story in his literal website. Oh yeah, you guys, so we were also, all about it. Couldn't have been more. Oh, I wasn't aware of any problem. Except the pattern. Your business model doesn't pass the smell test. Your little mansion, go bring me some slaves, literally call me master. What have we told you again and again? What did Debbie Cook wanted to be called? Sir. She wanted to be called Commander. She wanted to be called Mr. Cook. How many slaves did Debbie Cook have underneath her? How many slaves did she recruit for herself? Well, this man went and got himself a little position of privilege with, Disney eating out of the palm of his hands, with the idiots at Netflix eating out of the palm of his hands. These people have no idea how to do a shred of due diligence because they don't give an F. Oh, who's this guy? Oh, yeah. Sounds real cool what we're reading here. Oh, my God. Great writer. Yeah, well, he got it from his daddy, L. Ron Hubbard. The daddy of his daddy. Okay, that's how it worked. L. Ron Hubbard was our daddy's daddy. Oh, what did Daddy L. Ron Hubbard say to do? Oh, what does Daddy L. Ron Hubbard say to do in this situation? How should we all think? But apparently this has not been made clear. Apparently everyone has no idea how a cult works. Apparently they have no idea how to research what a Class 8 auditor is. How stupid can anyone be? This man has studied everything available from L. Ron Hubbard to the highest degree. This took years and years and years to get to Class 8. He had to be OT3 to be Class 8. He had to have gone through OT eligibility. He had to have been approved, considered, so on the in, so safe for you to really read about Xenu here and really get about the body thetans and all that other delusionary, infantile bullshit that all of these degenerates have claimed is a religious right. Oh yeah, it's my religious right. I can just do whatever in the F I want because no one will stop me. No one will call me out. I will get away with it. Everyone is so stupid. And yes, you know what? They're right. Everyone has been so goddamn stupid because no one can connect a shred of dot. Everyone's just like, well, I was told he really did stop Scientology. That's all it takes, right? Where's the evidence that he stopped? If Scientology hotels and commercial buildings are recruiting, including but not limited to underage kids, vulnerable young adults, to succumb to a master slave org board that this man is being literally accused of running in his own house. Do you think Scientology didn't have nannies? Do you think Scientology didn't have cleaners? So what's the difference? So Neil Gaiman decided, oh, you know what? I'm not going to do the audits anymore, but we'll have the other side propped up here in my house. But he left. And all of you idiots are out there, oh, did he leave? If you don't repudiate it, if you don't call it out, you haven't left. You haven't left shit. You're literally in that same exact stage, except you are now with a new superiority complex. Oh, you know what? I'm so superior than everybody because I did walk out of the hotel when it got inconvenient for you as a full-grown adult. You know what? Applause. Applause, you guys. Like, come on, let's applaud them from walking out and doing nothing. Applaud them. Keep applauding them from just, oh, were you in Scientology? Great. And did you exit the hotel? Yes. Okay, great. Wow. Wonderful. Grown-ass adults left a commercial building where they were abusing kids, bringing them, normalizing it. All of them it took to agree for this to be happening at the industrial scale that we've been calling out. But apparently, no one has a shred of a clue about nothing because no one has set eyeballs inside of the hotel. Guess who did set eyeballs inside of the hotel? This man, Neil Gaiman. Guess who is incredible at writing stories? This man here, Neil Gaiman. Guess who's went and curled up in a ball when he was asked about his childhood and then went and wrote another Kakamimi story? This man here, Neil Gaiman, that can talk from every side of his mouth except from the fucking facts. Did you study up to class 8, Neil Gaiman? Then you know everything that L. Ron Hubbard said. Then you know that those audits are unconscionable, and I dare you to defend them. I dare you to defend them. I dare you to show us that you're doing some sort of introspective, oh yeah, I'm really here for the last few months, really figuring out that I really effed up. Where's the evidence that you're having a shred of cognition? Where is that evidence? Where are we going to see that you're like, oh yeah, you know what? This was really effed up, what we were doing here, what I contributed to, what I exposed kids to, what I continued perpetuating the cycle of abuse that my daddy and my mommy, the two infantile degenerates that were worshiping L. Ron Hubbard, an American felon on the run from the FBI, the CIA, you know, the British police, everywhere, right? Like this felon, disgusting degenerate that he is, that everyone's still obsessed with for God knows what goddamn reason. Because all of you want to, what was it that L. Ron Hubbard said, Neil Gaiman? Oh yeah, man can't and won't confront evil. So, bravo. You think no one can confront evil? Some of us that were kids inside of those disgusting child trafficking horror houses, Neil Gaiman, have come to our senses, have been calling out the out ethics, the mutual out rudes that all of the adults had, to be having a master slave program going 24/7, 365 all over the world, with all of every single adult coming out of this cult denouncing jack shit. Oh, the disconnection was really toxic, you guys. My God, we really need to do a campaign about the disconnection. Really? The disconnection? Are you sure? Are you sure there's not more things that would make a bigger difference than just disconnection? How about you don't touch anyone under the age of 20 motherfucking 1, where you can reach an age of consent, right? Because this little article from the corporate media that, you know, shout out to them. I guess they really did spend a lot of time talking to a lot of people. But you know what? No safe word is what they teach at the hotels. So yes, bravo. Credit when credit is due, when the corporate media gets something right. No safe word is this big, you know, 20 age 20-page article written in the, okay, no safe word is what you're not allowed to have inside of a hotel as a child. So corporate media, great at investigating these allegations, will keep going. Keep going, because you haven't reached a shred of anything. This investigation is here at the level of glib, at the very surface. And great, I mean, credit when credit is due. I guess we should just be so thankful, you guys, that, oh my God, look, the corporate media finally did right about this specific group of girls that establishes a very damning pattern of, what was it? Oh yeah, dominant and submissive. Dominant and submissive. Guess what they call it in Scientology? Senior. Oh, that's my senior. Guess who your senior is? It's your master. Oh, that's my junior. Yes, they were calling us juniors. You're my junior. That was the slave. Isn't that great? That all of these sycophants of convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard just went, you know what we just need to do? Instead of calling it a master and commander, because, you know, that's going to make us look too like slave, you know, commander. Yeah, let's just go with senior and junior. Isn't it great that you could just have little seniors above you as a child? These people put us in coercive, unthinkable, disgusting, indefensible relationships. And it took the agreement of the Scientology parents that want to play dumb, that want to play, oh, I had no idea. They all had a clue is what our problem is with them. The problem is that they knew. The problem is that they were aware. The problem is that they were all in agreement at once. Normalizing the abominable, indefensible, systemic, institutionalized abuse of kids at an industrial size scale. So that's the problem with you, Neil Gaiman, that became a child Scientologist, that then you became the ED of an org, then you became the very top trained auditor that you could possibly get to. You're up to your necks and ears in Scientology. You that were treated so special. You that were, oh, look, he's, gaining influence over here. How much did Scientology help you prop up your career to where it needed to get to? How is it that, you have children with a Scientologist that's supposed to be in good standing, and y'all are just talking between each other? This is the example of the entitlement of the celebrities that we told you guys ad nauseum millions of times. If they're a celebrity, all manner of rules will be broken so that, you didn't have to, oh, let's separate from me and my wife. Why? How many other stories of people that are not Neil Gaiman's, not special, just bottom of the barrel, Scientologists right there, right? Because we've learned all about the echelons. Apparently there's, yes, what we told you a million, trillion, zillion times. The celebrities are at the very top of the what? Oh yeah, the masters over what? The slaves. How stupid can anyone actually be to not get that? In the year 2025, as everything is burning down to the ground. Let's make sure these people don't just continue to play dumb because, oh yeah, everything's so complicated, and yet it isn't. Thank you, Witchy Share. People in the industry knew. Well, they've known. They've known about the problem that is Scientology, you guys. They've been sleeping with the enemy. Hollywood and Scientology has been sleeping with each other. It's all a very incestuous relationship, power plays, power dynamics, undue influence, undue power over certain celebrities, leveraging all the wrong things with all the wrong incentives. Because these people are corrupt from the very top to the very bottom. Yeah, but what we need is in prison, what we need is the denouncement, you guys. We need the denouncement. If it's not denounced, if people continue to play dumb as if nobody had a clue, oh my God, everyone's so clueless, like, what is going to be stopped? And that's what I said. The silver lining in this is that this man has shown you the business model that he got groomed to think as a child was so acceptable. He became an adult. He became a high-ranking person that Scientology helps his celebrities win in the arts. Scientology has plenty of people in the arts influencing in the best way they can. Whether it's the Tom Cruises of the world, whether it's the Alex Prager, the photography darling that everybody praises, another Scientology artist asset. All of these people that artificially got propped up by the cult to become celebrities. What, you thought it was just like, oh, then you don't owe us anything? No. They were rubbing each other's backs. They were leveraging that influence back and forth. So he needs to start confronting who this man is. This idea that he's not a Scientologist, show me the money that he's not a Scientologist. He's a class 8 auditor. He studied L. Ron Hubbard more than anyone other human in this world. Very few other people in Scientology can claim they're class 8s. Okay, very, very, very few. Only the ones that are in the Sea Org. So this man is not informed. This man is not in the know. This man is not no. He was a top asset and he's still acting as an asset, except oops, he went out PR. He went and did what they were doing at the hotel outside in his house, and he now got denounced. Because, oops, the girls that he was recruiting weren't Scientologists. They would have been Scientologists. Where would have been the report? Where would be this report today? If all of those girls are Scientologists, there's no report, there's no article, there's nothing. The part he effed up in is he got too big for his own. Oh, I'm such a great auditor. Oh, I don't need Scientology. I'll just, utilize whatever it's convenient for me to utilize. And since, yes, saying that you're a Scientologist has a certain stench to it, you know what? I don't want to say that I'm a Scientologist. I mean, God forbid the children that we were abusing 24/7, 365 wake the F up and start calling us the F out. God forbid the children that were abused 24/7, 365 start getting our ethics in. That's what this is called. Just so everyone is clear. If you, Neil Gaiman, are not aware, now you are aware, right? Another little datum that we're going to give you from L. Ron Hubbard just to make sure that you understand how great and wonderful this memento is, where you do get your actual withholds re-stimulated and pulled. And the good news is, like, we don't need you to open and close your mouth. We will tell you what your withholds are. We will tell you what your overts are. We will tell you where your crimes lie. And we will invite you to start denouncing that shit, to come clean, Like all of you regurgitated ad nauseum at the hotel. Oh, let's really teach everyone how to come clean. All of you know how to come clean. Write time, place, form, and event of every crime and turn it into the FBI. Write time, place, form, and event of every crime and turn it into the nearest police department. And start cooperating with law enforcement. Stop playing dumb. Stop playing like, oh, we had no idea. We really thought we were saving our world. You were doing the business model that you exported into your home when you were in Scientology. Except in Scientology, you had the protection of Scientology. You had the protection of OSA. You had the protection of RTC to make sure that you didn't put your literal foot in the excrement. And guess what? Now, no amount of money, no amount of nothing. Now you effed up because you didn't have the protection of OSA. You didn't have the protection of the NDAs. You didn't have anyone under arbitration fucking agreements. So that's why we have this story. So for all of you who are wondering, oh, we have the story because OSA wasn't covering his ass. That's why you have the story. One story where still everyone's playing, oh, well, it's very questionable. He did say he left. Is he a class 8 auditor? Yes or no? What else was he doing inside the Scientology hotels and commercial buildings as a class 8? How many children did he audit? How many children did he recruit into staff as the ED, head of an organization? Because the years that he was there, he would have been shipping kids from Britain, including but not limited to kids from Britain to Florida to get trained. By who? Oh yeah, by me as a child. So I'm sure that the outer trainee calling unit was talking to you, Neil Gaiman, at the time. And it would be great for you to get on the record and start telling us how many kids you sent from England to Florida to train under Debbie Cook, for Debbie Cook to become your golden age of whatever the F you were calling it. Because that's all we have. That's all we have, unfortunately, you guys. We have advocacy that is needed. And I am glad that these women were able to come forward. I am glad that they were able to say what this man was doing. The lack of boundaries. I mean, again, one of the horrific allegations is, the iPad and his own underage son. I mean, in what world did you grow up in Scientology going like this and then doing it to your child, just perpetuating the cycle of abuse? Grooming your child to call someone a slave? How did you leave Scientology if you're teaching your child to call people slaves? That's Scientology parenting right there. So don't give us the bullshit you left Scientology, because Scientology never left you because you were made by L. Ron Hubbard. That's your problem, Neil Gaiman. You were made by L. Ron Hubbard, and you know what? Nowhere on the record to repudiate anything. Nowhere on the record to say this was fucked up. This is shit. What in the F? Zero self-awareness. Just took a literal dump with your little statement of your little polished author. Oh yeah, let me just pretend I'm like going to rehab here. Where's the evidence that you've had any ethics change? We would know if you were having ethics change. We know how to spot ethics change, Neil Gaiman, and you have had zero ethics change, zero getting your withholds actually off and confronting what in the F you were doing. We just have voicemails of you, admitting in a big, big way to what this was, what was going on. And this is literally what is being called out. Show us you have ethics change. Come actually clean from what your parents were doing back then. Because, I mean, here's him at 7 years old, you guys. This is, again, like, here's the evidence. Here's the receipts. This is why we're saying no more kids in Scientology, Neil Gaiman. So get that through your skull. And become part of the solution. Stop being part of the problem. All you're doing right now is being part of the literal problem. All you're doing right now is deflecting and pretending that you're, gonna go and figure out how you can have some kind of ethics change. But you know what? You've been now called out as the Class 8 auditor that you still are. There's no repudiation on the record that you said, oh my God, it was really wrong that I ever did that. It was really bad. This is what in the fuck, this is wrong. If there's no repudiation, then how did these people really leave, you guys? It's all just convenience. It's all just, oh, let me just rehab my image real quick. Let me just write a shit book, bullshitting my way about how I really did leave a hotel. And then what? You regurgitated nothing. Because what's been done to the children on a 24-hour, 365 basis is nowhere to be found in the conscience of Los Angeles, in the conscience of Florida, in the conscience of every last state hosting the scourge of convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard and his adult sycophants that are so goo-goo gaga for their daddy that they willingly relinquished their critical thinking skills at the door. Exactly, Forrest. Not a lot of things shocked me, but that article made my stomach turn. And good, you guys. It needs to start making some stomach turns. What you read in that article, times it 1,000, times 1,000 inside for the Scientology kids. Remember, we were 8. Remember, we were 11. When we were being told that we were the slave, we were 11. When we were being told to ask adults, how do you like to masturbate? We were 11. We were 12. So yes, it sucks that all these girls that he got a hold of to replicate the model of what goes on in those hotels and commercial buildings 24/7, 365, and all of them know it. So for all of you that want to go, oh, but that one must have not known, they all knew everything. That's the problem. They all went into the rooms. They all went and did the courses. They all paid for the audits. They all paid for the ethics handlings. The adults couldn't have been more in the know of what was going to be done to the kids. There's not one adult that can say, oh, I didn't know. You knew. That was your deal with L. Ron Hubbard, that you were going to know. And then you both did it to the child. And then you all as adults agreed, makes a lot of sense, do that, who cares? Turn that child into a slave. That's a religion that we're doing in here. Bullshit. Bullshit. So let's react to this, you guys.
Believe it or not, and you do sound like a very, very intelligent 7-year-old. You were interviewed for a BBC radio program.
Okay, first things first. Stop telling kids that they're very, very intelligent. The reason that we were intelligent The reason that you see Sabrina Cardone being very intelligent, the reason there's so many child prodigies being so intelligent is because they are turned into miniature adults. They are groomed from birth that are miniature adults. Not because you were a miniature adult, because it was sink or swim for the kids. And yes, they got us all to sound the same. They got us all to be very good at regurgitating and sounding intellectually like everything was great and wonderful. And yet it couldn't have been farther from the actual reality. So this idea that Scientology kids are very intelligent, they're abused 24/7, 365, have parents that are completely deadbeat, complete idiot degenerates that have no common sense, have no critical thinking skills, are obsessed with, oh, what did L. Ron Hubbard did say? Oh, let me just do this here that he says. Oh, it says to lock up the child. Let's lock him up. L. Ron Hubbard did say that. My daddy figure, L. Ron Hubbard. Oh, we're really going to get a lot of religion done here. So stop telling Scientology kids that they're intelligent. They're abused kids that have to sound like that. And I'm glad that we have this evidence to show you guys how we sounded. Because this is all part of the cover-up. Oh, make these children sound very good, very adult, like they have it all together, so you don't suspect that they're being abused. We were being abused. We have to switch. Oh, I'm in between non-Scientologists. Let me do the switch. Let me make sure I don't say anything that could be out PR. Let me make sure that I really control the image of my mother. Let me make sure my father doesn't look bad. Okay, let me just pretend everything is great. Pretend everything is wonderful. Don't show any BIs. Right, Neil? Bad indicators, BIs. That's what you would tell the victims. Don't show us bad indicators. We're going to abuse you, but just keep showing us good indicators. We want to see you smile. We want to see you uptone. We want to see you, this family is doing a lot for you. I mean, aren't you so lucky to have a technology that no one else in the world is ever going to have? You're so lucky. This is all just, it's going to be great for you. That's what they tell you. This is going to be great for you. You're so lucky. And meanwhile, you're just getting abused.
The world at weekend, because at the time your father worked for the Church of Scientology.
I remember I'd been thrown out. I've been thrown out of school.
Well, because
my parents were Scientologists.
This is. Have you heard this since this was broadcast?
I haven't.
This is you at the age of.
You were thrown out of school. See, you guys, and this was always what Scientologists do. They are experts at playing the victim. Imagine at the time, people were really wondering what in the F these people were about. This is before Mike Rinder really got in and sanitized their image. This is before they started hiring PR, best of the best PR agencies to handle and to sanitize their image. Way before. Way before. By the time that his parents were there, people were aware of the unhinged, disgusting, dangerous people these people were. But they always played it out as like, oh, we're being discriminated. My son won't be accepted because your parents are two literal crooks. Two criminals. Oh yeah, I got kicked out of school because my parents were just two criminals. Like literally child trafficking criminals that were instrumental in helping the child trafficker in chief, L. Ron Hubbard, the literal convicted felon on the run that they were helping escape, as if they were not literally committing criminal acts. But the sanitized, oh, I was kicked out of school for being a Scientologist. Wah, wah, wah. Like, How pathetic can you possibly be?
7. Go for it.
It is an applied philosophy dealing with the study of knowledge. It helps you to handle quite a lot of problems.
I hated being asked as a child what Scientology was. Because there was no answer to that question. This is a 7-year-old that has been groomed to recite the delusions that convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard propped up, right? To play all these word games with you. Oh, what is it? Oh, it's an applied religious philosophy. What in the fuck is anyone talking about? If you end up in a hotel where a grown-ass man and a grown-ass woman tell you that from now on, you are their junior, they're not your parent, they're not your father, they're not your mother, they're a fucking stranger. When that happens, what part of the applied religious philosophy is any idiot really going to want to go? But the definition of Scientology is shut the F up with your bullshit definitions. Nobody gives a fuck what you regurgitate like a 7-year-old that we were groomed to say exactly what you're hearing from him right now. That's how we sounded. That's how we all sounded. The kids that didn't sound like this got it worse. So breaking news, if you didn't sound like this, if you didn't get with the program, if you didn't get your ethics in, if you didn't learn the technology, if you didn't weren't regurgitating this shit, then you got it worse. Oh, you're an ethics kid. Oh, you're degraded. Look at your sister. She's so great. She's so wonderful. Look at her getting the certificates. Why don't you learn L. Ron Hubbard? Why don't you get the technology through your think skull? So just think about that for a minute. The kids that couldn't just regurgitate like he just did here, like I would be doing, we got it worse. They got it worse. So it's a cycle of abuse that is literally the end of endless cycle of abuse rundown. That's what Scientology is. So for anybody that's asking, for anyone that wants to know, it's the end of endless cycle of abuse rundown. New definition. For all you idiots that want to misrepresent the definition, Scientology is the abuse rundown, end of endless style. Remember that one, Neil Gaiman? The end rundown, end of endless, end repair rundown. This is the end of endless abuse. End of endless. Like no end in sight. Every day, 24/7, 365, at every hour, every minute, they are, role-playing their little master slave, junior, senior, disgusting, degenerate, adult-only, at best, games like we did learn here, BDSM. Oh, couldn't be more legal, couldn't be more lawful. If everyone's consenting what adults are doing, you might not like it. Well, good. The Scientology people fall into that category, except they brought kids to their disgusting pen of abuse. So stop being confused. Stop being like, oh, we don't know. We have no idea what's on. Stop doing that. It's an insult to the intelligence of the kids that had to survive this bullshit. just so a bunch of people can play dumb. Here you're seeing the model. How far back it goes. This man is like generations ahead of me, with his parents being one of the first people that helped cement the legacy of L. Ron Hubbard. So he's not just nobody. So for all of you that want to go, oh, but he didn't really leave. Okay, well, his parents were the ones that helped L. Ron Hubbard the most, were most counted to cement the most disgusting racketeering, child trafficking, criminal conspiracy on a worldwide basis that this earth has ever hosted. On a worldwide basis, calling out Australia, calling out Mexico, calling out United States, calling out Canada, calling out Britain, calling out Switzerland, Italy, France, Germany, Russia, Japan, Israel. How many more fucking countries you want to add to this bullshit? Colombia, Argentina, Brazil. So yeah, worldwide, kids, underage kids at risk worldwide, including the organization this man was the top executive director of. Just so we're not, still wondering, like, oh, maybe what? Maybe literally what, you guys? Costa Rica, thank you, Unstoppable.
What problems do you have as a little boy that this helps you with?
Only one big problem.
What's that?
My friend Stephen.
Oh, I see. Is he a Scientologist?
Yes.
He is. But I mean, how does this grade that you've got, problems release, help you to deal with Stephen?
Well, I've done.
Problems release. Grade 1. What problem have you had with another? What solution have you had for that problem? What problem has another had with you? What solution have they had for that problem? What problems have others had with others? What solutions did they have for that problem? What problem have you had for yourself? What solutions have you had for that problem? They would ask you that same question over and over and over and over, like parrots, like robots, like infantile idiots. What solution have you had for that problem? What problem have you had with this? You're a fucking 7-year-old. You're strapped to cans. You cannot move. You're disgusted by this infantile adult regurgitating things that make no sense to you. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? A problem? What solutions have I had for that problem? I don't know. I don't give a fuck. I want to leave. Nope, you can't leave. You have to answer the question. You have to answer the question. You have to answer the question. I don't want to be here. I don't care. We're going to continue with the process. You're going to have a lot of wins. So 7 years old, that's what this man was already literally getting done to himself. No more kids in Scientology. That's the place where these people were exposing the kids to the most disgusting abuse. And it needs to be called out. And literally his testimonies here, the receipt of the kids inside Scientology, how they sound, you guys. I mean, it's all scattered, but imagine that this is just happening right this minute. Like, kids are there. Kids are being spoken to like this. Kids are being brought up to grade 1. Everything has remained the same. There's been no reining back of the legacy that this man's Scientology parents, one of the most disgusting criminal Scientology parents ever, as if they weren't the literal surrogates of L. Ron Hubbard helping there, where it counted, where they cemented their win to be degenerates in a ship, degenerates going around getting hotels and commercial buildings where they could traffic and turn kids into slaves. That is the cycle of abuse. That is the mentality of these people. They have disgusting superiority complexes that are deranged, that are complete delusions of grandeur, that are not rooted in reality. They're rooted in, oh, I'm really class 8. I'm a class 8. The higher up you are, the worse off you are. That's how it works with L. Ron Hubbard.
I've dealt every single problem except Stephen. It's one thing problems release can't tell me to handle.
So you still fight with Stephen?
It's more of a question he fights with me.
What kind of memories does that bring back?
Actually, what I was amazed by was the accent, because there is that.
See, Neil, you're misdirecting. Don't misdirect. In what world are you hearing that? In what world you're a so-called intellectual in the outside world, not under the yoke of L. Ron Hubbard or Scientology, you so-called Lev, you so-called not related to them whatsoever, and you're not seeing what the problem is of what was just literally presented to you? And again, you guys, this is why I'm not buying. It's like, oh, we really did leave. You left inconvenience. You left inconvenience? Oh, so it wasn't convenient for you anymore. Then you left. Oh, because then you became the man, the highly sought after by Netflix, by Disney, by all these people that have no teams that do any due diligence on their talent. Where do you come from? Oh, you grew up in a cult? Oh, your parents were top tier criminal, top tier of this? So what's Netflix's answer now to be greenlighting so many of these projects that this man wrote all about when he's a class 8 auditor? When he is the replica of L. Ron Hubbard, he trained to be the top, trained to be the most, trained to do the most, listen to more L. Ron Hubbard things than anyone literally could ever even imagine. That's what it takes to get to class 8. The Silent Hill special briefing course, you guys don't even want to know the wall of bullshit. Neil Gaiman studied it all, went through it all, but apparently has no self-awareness whatsoever about anything having anything to do with that. Yet he's being caught perpetrating the cycle of abuse as a predator, mind you, right? Because, oh, get me these girls to work here and I'm going to have all the power dynamic and balance. And then I'm going to have no boundaries, no safe word. That's the problem with the Scientology people. You guys, there is no motherfucking safe words because they're all using another language. So that's the other problem with Neil Gaiman. If he would have stayed in Scientology using the language, using the children that are provided in that capsule, in that bubble, he had no problem right now. None. Scientology would have go. Who? No. Oh, you're saying that Neil argue? Oh, no. You must have done that in another lifetime. Take a look. Take a look. Go get that floated. And then stop complaining. You're not a victim. Victims don't exist. That's a motivator. That's a withhold. You pulled it in. It's your fault. That's it. Neil is an upstat. Neil's going to help us clear a planet, save a world. He would have had it good inside Scientology. That's what he's regretting today. That's what I read from his, bullshit statement. Oh, I'm really taking some months to really consider. To consider what? To consider nothing. In the year 2025, you've repudiated nothing, considered nothing, lied your ass off, completely now pretended that everybody's in so much consent with you. If you're so aware of consent, Neil Gaiman, then by all means, tell us where the consent was when we were getting audits as kids. Since you're such an expert and since you're such an intellectual and since the world is like salivating for your books, why don't you put that intellect into a statement that makes sense? Because that's where your intellect is really going to get tested. Make shit that you were doing that makes no shred of sense. Makes sense. Try the kids that were abused inside the Scientology kids. Try the kids that were not the kids of big celebrity Scientology parents that had all the clout. We were not Nepo babies, some of us. We were bottom of the barrel. Cogs in a wheel. With zero consent to be made to do what we were doing. So make sure that that's clear in your head, since you're the consent expert now. Oh yeah, really gonna talk about consent. Everybody that came to my power dynamic imbalance household really did consent. How? Why was that power dynamic imbalance there in the first place? Oh, because that's what was getting you off. Got it. Oh, because that's what you were getting at the hotel. Got it. Oh, because that's what you replaced when you became the big shot. Let me write a lot of comics. I mean, yeah, makes sense that you dissociate into that delusional world. Get a grip of reality. And you don't want that, right? Because a grip of reality means you have to confront evil, Neil Gaiman. And apparently you have no confront of evil. Apparently, you just think that, just really thought about it for some months and everybody was great and everybody did wonderful. But, I really remember things different. Yeah, no shit. I'm sure you want to remember things very different.
Mostly because when I was doing the audio recording of Ocean at the End of the Lane, I was having to go to the BBC website and find recordings of Sussex accents. And listening to that, it was like, oh my gosh, I had one. I never knew.
Who was
Just a little
Stephen?
one, but he was the kid at the...
And again, this cockamamie story about the accent, and this is what you called in Scientology a no answer answer. They trained you to do that in Scientology. They trained you to control communication. You are at cause. You control the communication. Oh, but he just asked me about a feeling. I'm giving an F what he just asked me. I will control communication. I will speak about what I want the communication to go over here, talk about some bullshit that has nothing to do with the fact that you just literally said as a 7-year-old you were getting audited. Then as a grown adult, you became a class 8 auditor. Then you became the top tier commanding officer of some British org. Then you would have had to have sent people from England, trafficked all the way to Florida to Debbie Cook during the so-called training evolutions. But that's how their media train. In Scientology, they literally media train them 24/7, 365, you guys.
The end of the lane. Or a kid who lived in a house just down the road. And he almost crops up in this book.
Really?
There's a memory of a kid who I think I call somebody Kovacs in this book, who was basically based on him, because I went and stayed the night at his house once. And as soon as his mum closed the door, we were in our bunk beds, he pulls out his water pistol and he started firing it at me. And I'm lying.
Anyways, he takes over the conversation there and just kind of goes off. I did see a question here. Can you please speak more on the control aspect, getting people off, and if it happens with the people who joined as adults, not as ingrained as well? they're getting off on the power trip. They're getting off on the power dynamic imbalance that exists, that is being provided by this artificial hotel that purports that all of these things that they're doing have some sort of religious value to the two people that are doing these audits, getting the courses, or going to the ethics handlings. And the thing is, like, they get into these ethics handlings as adults, they get humiliated, they get embarrassed, they get forced to participate in those type of humiliation rituals that they practice, and they get off on that. They literally write success stories. Oh my God, my ethics officer saved my life. She screamed and yelled at me that I was an out ethics degraded being. And then I had a cognition that I have been an out ethics degraded being my whole life. And now, thanks to L. Ron Hubbard and my 13-year-old ethics officer, I realize that I am no longer an out ethics degraded being. That's what these people like write down on a success story. And everybody goes, oh my God, you had a win. Oh my God, everything is great. You're having wins. They're obsessed with their wins. Their wins is their ways of them saying that they're getting off, basically. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I wanted to grab that one. Yeah. So let's get rid of this man on this screen and let's add this other screen. Here. This article from A Closer Look at Neil Gaiman's. Let me just move my screen, you guys. Oops. The wrong screen, sorry. Okay. Actually, that's going to work out better. Here. A closer look at Neil Gaiman's relationship with Scientology. The religious beliefs of author Neil Gaiman have come into question as fans become increasingly interested in his personal life following a sexual assault scandal. Neil has become one of the most prolific fiction writers of his time, crafting pieces like Good Omen and The Sandman. Neil also made his mark in children's literature with works like Caroline and the Graveyard Book. In addition to his work in print, Neil also contributed to television and film. He wrote episodes for Doctor Who and co-created the television adaptations of Good Omens. Now the controversy surrounding his personal life has surfaced. Some fans are curious about the author's background. Some think Neil is a Scientologist and he has talked about their religion in the past. What is Neil Gaiman's affiliation with Scientology? Is Neil Gaiman a Scientologist? Neil Gaiman has consistently stated that he's not a Scientologist, despite his family's deep ties to the Church of Scientology. In 2013, an interview with The Guardian, Neil addressed rumors about his involvement with Scientology, suggesting that he has not been a practicing member since becoming an adult. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. That's strike number one. No credibility. This man is... He was not the Edie of an org as a child. Because that's where... Hold on, you guys. I just lost my... Here it is. Okay. He was not the Edie of an org as a child. So he's going on the record and stating that he has not been one since becoming an adult. Not true. It's just simply not true. You became a class 8 as a child? No. There was no child class 8s because you had to do so many lectures, so many courses. Like by the time you were done, you were not a child anymore. Neil called the rumors bonkers, adding, quote, saying I'm a secret Scientologist and I've donated 29 million, and Amanda and I are both secret Scientologists and we were ordered to marry by Scientology. I mean, plenty whales have donated 29 million to Scientology. Remember, it's a tax shelter for them, you guys. So before all of you go, oh, let me cry for all the money that they're literally integrating that. If they're making that much money, they're integrating that into a business plan. So they get what? The tax benefit incentives of putting that donation there. What they get to offset here, they get it back from the IRS over here. So are y'all getting that level of, donation leverage? Because the IRS gives these people incredible deals to offset their income and, park it over here. Oh yeah, that's going to charity, right? You're just donating it to save our world. Oh yeah, we're really on a mission to save our world. You have no idea, IRS, the type of mission these people are on saving our world. So right there, he's regurgitating things that, no one's saying, where is he getting the $29 million from? Your problem is not the $29 million, Neil Gaiman. Your problem is you're a class 8 auditor. Way worse. There's idiots there that were $29 million donors that had no idea how to do an audit, that had no idea how to do an ethics handling, that had no idea how to do anything that L. Ron Hubbard said. A luxury that you don't have. Isn't that great? That you could run circles around someone that donated $30 million. So good on you to try to flip it and be like, oh, I've never donated $20 million, so couldn't be me. Bullshit. Bullshit. It is you. You're a class 8 auditor. While Neil tried to distance himself from the faith, his parents were very involved with Scientology. According to Vulture, the Gaiman family is still highly involved with Scientology. Additionally, the New Yorker revealed that one of Neil's sisters works at the cult in Los Angeles. Isn't that great, you guys? For all of you who are wondering if his sister is at Big Blue, apparently she is. Isn't that great? Then now we know that Neil Gaiman's sister is at Big Blue here in Los Angeles. I mean, unbelievable. While the other, Lisi Calcioli, has often spoken of her connections to Scientology. So if his family is all up in it, who do you guys know in our community whose family's all up in it, including having members at Big Blue, but that they're like, like he's not a Scientologist, but all his family's in Scientology. He's not complaining that he doesn't talk to them. He's not complaining that disconnected. There's no complaints. It's just, I did that as a child. Lie number one. I've never donated $29 million. Who gives a fuck? You're a class 8 auditor. We don't give a fuck about your donation. It takes more of your time to climb to class 8. It takes more devotion to get to that than to donate $29 million. And then I love this tweet here, you guys. Everyone kind of ignoring that whole middle section of the Neil Gaiman article where we find out his parents were high up in Scientology and advocated locking kids in dark rooms with no food or bathrooms for days on end. Don't miss that part. Don't miss this part. everyone kind of ignoring that whole middle section of the Neil Gaiman article where we find out his parents were high-end up in Scientology and advocated locking kids in dark rooms with no food or bathrooms for days on end. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It's a corroboration we never asked for because the truth corroborates itself. Doesn't need anyone to go pandering the truth. It comes to you. So his high-end ranking Scientology parents. Here's corroboration of the sadistic, degenerate, disgusting nature of the Scientology parents. It wasn't just Neil Gaiman's parents. Breaking news. Yes, his parents were surrogates, direct surrogates of L. Ron Hubbard. So they have one up on the Scientology parents, given that they were founding members of this racketeering, child abuse normalizing scheme where, yes, Neil Gaiman's parents groomed him to become the monster he is today. He cannot help himself. He cannot because he has not denounced the cycle of abuse, because he's been incentivized to continue to perpetuate it, because he's been given a complete blank slate by the idiots that haven't been able to connect any dots about the child abuse in Scientology. Here we have this very helpful tweet just to remind everyone that here we go again. Everyone kind of ignoring that the whole middle section of Neil Gaiman's article is where we find out his parents were high up in Scientology, advocated locking kids in dark rooms with no food or bathrooms for days on end. And what, do you guys think that this was just something going on, in the 60s? Wrong. In the 70s? Wrong. In the 80s? Wrong. In the 90s? 2000s? 2010s? All the way up to now. Kids have been getting locked up inside of those commercial buildings and hotels for unthinkable reasons that these adults give themselves. This is what, going back to your question, She, earlier, this is what they're getting off on, is the sadist in them, is the subjugation of innocence, of which they have no consent, of which no kid even has the ability to consent, is the bamboozling of their own child, as you saw him regurgitating Neil Gaiman, oh yeah, this is a philosophy and all this bullshit as a 7-year-old. He had no idea what in the hell he was talking about. We didn't have the bandwidth in our brain, as much as these people told us, oh, but you're not an animal. No, we're not an animal. But we do have a fucking brain. And the fucking development of the brain does need to develop, you fucking animals, degenerates, adults that, oh, but you're a spirit, you're a Satan. Fuck you. Fuck you and your bullshit definition of Satan. Shove that bullshit definition up you know where exactly. You're not going to redefine reality with your bullshit Scientology lexicon from hell. It's all bullshit. So start admitting it. Start showing that you've made any type of ethics change, Neil Gaiman. The news shocked netizens who were unaware of Neil's upbringing. Everybody's kind of ignoring the whole middle section of Neil Gaiman's article where we find out his parents in Scientology advocated locking kids in dark rooms with no food or bathrooms for days on end. One fan posted on X. Neil Gaiman has been accused of assaulting multiple women. Neil Gaiman faces multiple allegations essay allegations from several women. The accusations spanning from 86 to 2022. They're scathing and the details are disturbing. The allegations, which initially surfaced in 2024, were also featured in the podcast Master, produced by Tortoise Media, the outlet that first broke the story. One accuser, Scarlett Pavlovich, alleged that Neil assaulted her in a bathtub in New Zealand residence shortly after her initial meeting in February 2022. Another woman, referred to as Kay, claimed that the author subjected her to rough and painful sexual acts during their relationship, which she did not consent to or enjoy. Subsequent reports have brought forward additional allegations. I mean, again, you guys, you guys can go and read the report for yourselves, because again, the level of sadistic humiliation, domination, all of that is Scientology. All of that. All of that is what these people are doing. We're doing to us, the kids. 24/7, 365. Started in our home with our parents. That's why we were so prepared. That's why we were sounding like we were already part of their bullshit at 7 years old. I mean, remember, I was born in Mexico, already inside this bullshit. Already there. You know, but we're calling on the powerful. We're calling on the privileged. We're calling on every last goddamn entitled, privileged, Nepo baby, Scientology celebrities, exes and current, to use your privilege, to use your power, and start making amends where they count, where they can be seen in the physical universe. That's what this moment is calling for. All of these people with platforms, with everything, where has been their repudiation, their advocacy for kids, for the dysfunction, for breaking the cycle of abuse, for renouncing it, for denouncing it? You guys go check the public record, because it's all right there. Everything is on the public record, what everyone has said so far. The type of bullshit, sanitized paperclip withhold campaign that all of these people have been about, to not call themselves out, to not denounce who the victims are, who not tell anybody who's at risk, to do nothing about it. And now this man got caught without the help of OSA. That's all that he didn't have as far as him being a Scientologist, not being a Scientologist. You know what he doesn't have? His little OSA buddies. OSA buddies can come to his rescue. Aw, Neil, you don't have, your little OSA handlers there to, walk you through. You didn't have anyone sign any of your victims to arbitration agreements? Damn, I'm surprised. Shocked that you let this, be so, what was it? Oh yeah, reasonable. You're just so reasonable. The report in Vulture, more women have come forward with the allegations. The report alleged Gaiman allegedly abused his former babysitter, hired by his ex-wife Amanda Palmer, to look after his younger child. Isn't that great, you guys? Babysitters. How many underage teenager girls do you think end up babysitters of deadbeat Scientology parents that, see their babysitter as an adult, even if she's 12, even if she's 14? This was the culture. This is what is provided to them inside the culture. Oh, can I really get your daughter to come be my babysitter? We're Scientology family. Nothing would happen to her, of course. Do you know how many out 2Ds fathers were having with babysitters? You know how often that would be coming up? Oh, I just had an out 2D with my babysitter. Let me just go get a marriage co-audit. Let me go float my needle and then everything is going to be wonderful. That's all it took. That's all it would take. After these people had their way with the babysitter, let me go to the hotel and let me float it. Let me tell them everything I did. Let me get my tax write-off. And then, you know, my ethics are in. That's what they tell themselves. Oh, my ethics are in. Miracle of L. Ron Hubbard. Babysitter hired by his ex-wife, Amanda Palmer, to look after his youngest child. The author, also father of 3 other older children that he shared with his first wife, Mary McGrath. She was described as a private Midwestern Scientologist. The report also delved into the religious beliefs of his Jewish parents, David and Sheila, who left their jobs as business executives and pharmacists to join Scientology in 1965 when Neil Gaiman was 5 years old. The report has again turned the spotlight on Scientology, which was investigated for schmex trafficking and crimes against children. Furthermore, last year, 2 Hollywood stars and members, Denny Masterson and Oscar-winning filmmaker Paul Haggis, were accused of abuse. Masterson was found guilty and sentenced to 30 years in prison. Again, you guys, this is the gift that keeps on giving, the corroboration no one asks for. This man that claims, oh, I'm not a Scientologist anymore. Well, good. Thanks to him not having the OSA protection, you now have an article that shows you the trajectory of what these people have normalized for themselves. And yes, they became tigers. That's what L. Ron Hubbard told them to become. And yes, they never washed off their stripes, because they became so delulu, so caught up in their own bullshit, that they're nowhere to be found breaking the cycle of abuse, that they're only whitewashing it, that they're only deflecting from it, that they're only, you know, selling kakamimi stories that apparently are being bought by the hundreds and the millions out there by people who, you know, literally are part of a cult by extension of this man who studied L. Ron Hubbard to the here. To the here, like again, class 8 auditor, damn, like cannot emphasize enough why that matters. He's class 8, that he's done all the books, all the lectures, like an entire library full of bullshit from L. Ron Hubbard is what this man devoured. And, you know, has had no need to repudiate, because you know what? He was still following the pattern. You know, maybe he's just like, well, I finished everything that I could have studied about L. Ron Hubbard. I'm just going to go make money over here. That's what this is giving. Because in what world was he targeting his babysitters? That's like what the Scientology deadbeat fathers were doing when we were there. Every other week. Go to ethics. Oh, you know, they would come to you as a child. Like I was like 16. Oh, yeah, you know, we found out that Tom is having an out 2D with his babysitter. You need to send him to ethics. You need to write a report on him. You need to sit down with him. He has to tell you, oh, yeah, she gave me a blowjob the other day. Oh, okay, a blowjob? Where? Oh, you guys were in the kitchen? Okay, great. In the kitchen, you got a blowjob. And how long did it go for? Oh, she was blowing you for 10 minutes? Oh, let's write that down. For 10 minutes. So, yeah. With the recent article published by The Vulture about Neil Gaiman, which I won't be linking here, so not to force it upon those who don't want to read it. It's a good time to remind everyone that the new lead singer of Linkin Park comes from Scientology too. Isn't it great, you guys, that all these artists that are just really industry plants, of Scientology, from Emily Armstrong to this man to, they have it in all manner of things. I told you, they have people in galleries, Gottfried Hellwine, Alex Prager, you name it. Oh, you're going to have power. Oh, you're going to get us here. Oh, you're going to get us there. Oh, you have a really influential billionaire. Oh, they're going to make a donation. Oh, yeah, we really need a lot of celebrities. Now they don't want to say that they're in Scientology, so now they're all shut the F up and pretend they're not, unless they just, like Elizabeth Moss. But yeah, it's a great time to remind everyone that this woman also comes from there. In light of recent allegations against Gaiman, social media users began conflating Scientology with abuse. Reacting to the allegations against Gaiman, a social media user said, Gaiman was raised a Scientologist. Yeah, that tracks. So there you go, you guys. I mean, at least a little bit of people coming to their senses and starting to understand the problem here. Another noted, it tracks that Neil Gaiman comes from a Scientology family. Several social media users made similar observations, stating Neil Gaiman was a Scientologist. However, it should be noted that Gaiman has repeatedly stated that while his parents and older sisters and first wife are members of Scientology, he's no longer a member of the organization. Here's what Neil Gaiman has said about his link to Scientology. The Vulture report alleged when Neil Gaiman's ex-wife, Amanda Palmer, urged him to open up about his childhood in Scientology, he would curl up on the bed into a fetal position and cry. According to the late Mike Rinder's blog, Neil Gaiman's connection to Scientology and apparent departure first emerged in 2002 court case. Gaiman had filed a lawsuit seeking joint ownership of copyrights for characters he developed for Todd McFarlane's Spawn comic book series. During the case, Gaiman was reportedly asked, "Are you still a member of Scientology?" He replied, "I don't consider myself as such. I worked for a 3-year period after getting out of school as a counselor for Scientology." What type of schooling did you really do, Neil Gaiman? And here's the next time you lie because you think that, kids that grew up in Scientology, kids that were inside the flag organization when you would have been the ED of that org, would have been able to, put 2 and 2 together. That you can be calling yourself a 3-year period counselor, right? But then you were also the ED. Can you explain that? Because that would be the first contrary fact outpoint that you really have to start explaining so that your wrecked credibility doesn't just continue to wreck itself from all the lies that we're finding on, the shoddy investigations of the media. However, the Variety report said Gaiman worked as an auditor in Scientology. Mike Rinder's blog, citing renowned journalist and author Tony Ortega, said that Gaiman became a Class 8 auditor and even ran the Birmingham org as its ED, executive director. Gaiman reported work for Scientology until the late 90s and left the early 2000s. In 2013 Guardian interview, Gaiman addressed Scientology rumors circulating online. And that's the quote that we read, you guys. Gaiman denied connection to Scientology, stating he only believed in the power of stories. Because that's who you are, a bullshit artist. A con man who tells stories to create constructs, parasocial relationships on an image that you've exploited. How a la L. Ron Hubbard of you, Neil Gaiman. Bravo. Bravo. Credit when credit is due, you guys. Shout out to you, Neil Gaiman, that became a cult leader of your own. That you conned everybody with your writing, with your brilliance, with your insightful bullshit. You cannot stop lying. Imagine that. You're a writer who just lies. I guess you have zero boundaries, not only in your household, not only in your personal relationships, just with, there's just blurring of the lines between fact and fiction, right? Everything can be a lie. Everything can just be a story. Apparently, you are running the cult of stories. Apparently, that's all it's taken for your influence to thrive, to be a white man that regurgitates a lot of stories. And then all of a sudden, you're being called so great and so amazing because you're getting all these brand deals to do all of these. Oh, Marvel Comics. Oh, yeah, you're such a great writer. You're an abuser. Groomed from birth. Never broke the cycle. Never gave an F. Went and had kids. In what world is your kid being in the same room with you and an iPad and you doing something to a babysitter make a shred of sense? Who was consenting there? Was a 5-year-old consenting? Is that what you're going to say, Neil Gaiman? The Scientology father that you still apparently are. Oh, he's just a miniature adult. Nothing wrong, nothing to protect, nothing to see. Disgusting. Disgusting. However, in the blog, Mike Rinder alleged, despite Gaiman denying any existing ties with Scientology, his production company, the Blank Corporation, is allegedly still registered to a Scientology's P.O. box in Wisconsin, where his first wife, Mary McGrath, allegedly still works for Scientology. Wow. Imagine that. Imagine that you can't just have a P.O. box wherever the hell you want to have a P.O. box. Doesn't work like that, you guys. Scientology's very make sure, like, no. You have to cut the line. You have to cut the access. They're not approved. They're not okay. Da-da-da-da. In what world is this man having all of these things that indicate that he's still a Scientologist? It's called contrary facts. Shit doesn't add up. And it's called lies. And it's called unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I do urge you to digest in your own time if you feel like it, if you need to get into the weeds of the details. And if you did it, it would be, I would suggest, so you guys dive in to what is going on at a mansion. Allegedly, what went on in this man's mansion with all of the insanities that are alleged to have happened in that mansion with him. And put yourself in the shoes of a child in Scientology hotels. So you start prying your eyes open into the depths of hell. That's what these commercial buildings and Scientology hotels are to all children. The depths of hell with crazy ass adults that are out of their mind, that are infantilizing themselves at the expense of the kids. Holy Rogue, it's liberating to hear the truth on Gaiman. I used to be a fan back in the 90s, not anymore for sure. And I mean, that's the whole thing about the cult, right, guys? It's utilizing ways to seduce, to bring you in, to prop. It's a whole setup. It's all like propping yourself up to bring you in and then exploit this relationship, exploit the fact that people know you, leverage. But that's how these monsters are also made. Their head explodes, their ego explodes, they feel themselves above everybody. And that's what these men in Scientology grow being told. So don't feel bad for just learning the facts now, like oh, you think the divorce is in progress, not final yet? Yeah. Thank you. Yep. Shout out to the chat and to anyone born in a cult. Thank you, Ashta. Thank you, Chi. Yep. Which I got into an argument with one of my Facebook friends over whether he was a Scientologist or not. I sent her links to this stream and Nora's earlier stream. I was like, don't try to tell me about COS. And I mean, again, you guys, what I'm saying is the following. Is he an entitled celebrity man with a lot of money and a lot of influence? Yes. So he can carve out his own niche. That's how Scientology works there. Oh, as long as he's still paying for that ex-wife to do Scientology, as long as he's still being useful to Scientology, they're going to break all the rules and bend everything for him. Now they're going to want to distance themselves. Now that this problem has arisen, now they're going to go, oh, Neil who? Oh, yeah, class 8 auditor. That's the part that people need to understand. He trained more than anyone else ever can in Scientology. He could have gone 4 more classes up, but to become a class 12 doesn't take a long time. To become a class 6 is the longest course ever. In Scientology, it's getting past class 6 where that is the point of no return. Because that is where they've literally studied, like, I don't even know how to have a visual for you guys to understand the amount of drills, the amount of bulletins, the amount of stuff. Like, it's crazy. I don't know if he was no, he was in Scientology back in the 80s, in the late 80s, because, he didn't leave Scientology until the early 2000s, according to court records, which is what we're citing for him to say he doesn't consider himself as such, even though he was still acting as one according to his actions in the physical universe. And, sometimes, guys, we don't have to be asking people. It's like, you know what? L. Ron Hubbard had a phrase, which we're going to use right quick right now. Look, don't listen. Look. Don't listen to the pitch. Don't listen to the blah, 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 because this man is a good writer. This man will have you sold on stories faster than your eyes can spin. That's the L. Ron Hubbard hypnotism masters. Masters of the false pitch. Masters of the fakeness. Masters of being completely delusional and completely unhinged look good, because that's all it takes for people to take people at face value. All that shininess, and then nobody knows, nobody heard anything. We all heard that, everyone's just trying to save our world there. I doubt that kids in Scientology are listening to the stream. How else can you reach them? I mean, Tim, we need to increase the amount of advocates we have for the kids. Unfortunately, when you are a child that is enthralled in this situation, you have no way of even understanding what in the hell. And what we need is for this community to come together, for more people to become aware of the dangers that we're denouncing, of the seriousness of the situation, and then apply pressure from the outside in. I don't know how that problem is resolved. All I know is that we all as adults can come together to put our foot straight on the neck of the Scientology parents, the ones that are putting their kids to this, the ones that have been, don't rein me back, don't tell me no, I'm practicing a religion, I can do whatever in the F I want to my child. That's why we have a problem. That's why we have this level of delulu contaminating all these families. And what we need is for our communities of advocates to become informed, to understand, and through that education, through our diversity, tackle the problem, everyone from their own vantage point. Everyone in our community, some can protest on the front line, some have been doing things on the back end. It's like everyone's hands are what's going to put away this fire. Right now, this is the LA fire of Scientology, what just happened to this man. Because again, Scientology's been squashing, suppressing all the stories of abuse. And this one fell through their fingertips because OSA, got too lazy, didn't do their job, didn't make all these maids and babysitters sign contracts anymore because, he was distancing himself, even though, he's still using the Scientology PO box. So I feel like, the Scientology kids, unfortunately, and that's why my heart hurts every day, because there's not one thing that I feel we can do for them. Society at large needs to understand who are the who and the whys of their problem, so that the Scientology parents start getting investigated, start being told to stop treating kids as adults, and then figure out what in the hell, what can be done from there. I mean, the type of abuse and the type of complexity and the type of power dynamic imbalances that are going on in those households cannot be overstated. And it's going to be astronomical, the amount of work that's going to have to be done, because everyone's childhoods are being burned as we speak. Exactly. It's all neuro-linguistic programming from Scientology. That's exactly what it was. Yeah, it's called Leaders One-on-One. That's what they do. That's exactly what they do. It's all just words. It's all just word spells. It's all just word salad. At the end of the day, that's how they try to impress others. Oh, look at my writing. It's so this and it's so that. It's all this word salad that they're using to lure. And, Yeah. Well, thank you, Troll, for your valuable contribution to the algorithm. You clearly have no idea what in the hell you're talking about. We're talking about children raised in Scientology, and it looks like your little comic book hero is L. Ron Hubbard's protege. Imagine you coming to make points in defense of L. Ron Hubbard's protege, saying how the allegations are silly. I mean, bye. Banned forever. You guys, there was a lot to process there. There's still fires in LA. It's all just a lot. But we have to keep focus. We have to keep vigilant. We have to demand answers. We have to educate our community. And we have to connect the dots, because the dots are not going to connect by themselves. And Neil Gaiman would be well served being made aware that the kids that grew up in Scientology are going to question whatever lies and spin he tries to put on the record. Because you have two choices, Neil Gaiman. You either come clean and get your ethics in, which requires you to own, take responsibility in the physical universe, and denounce and announce what you did, what you were a part of, and what needs to be literally advocated for. That option is still in your court. That ball is still in your court. You can be the first Scientology celebrity that actually comes clean. But if you decide to continue sanitizing your image, if you decide to, gonna just ride this one out and then everyone's gonna come and help me, you are going to be in for a shock of your lifetime, because the knowledge reports on your out ethics are being filed as we speak, and they're coming in fast. So the sooner you get your ethics in, the sooner you wake the fuck up, the sooner you show that type of change behavior, then the ethics won't have to go in as hard. But if you keep playing dumb, then watch karma have her way with you. Thank you guys for joining me on the stream. Thank you guys for supporting. No more kids in Scientology, because kids cannot consent. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.